We're about to eat ramen that hasn't changed in nearly 100 years.
And honestly, I'm really curious as to how good it might be.
Today, we're going to 3 of the oldest ramen shops in Tokyo to see if they're actually worth it. And apparently, we're going to be able to eat at one of the first ever ramen specialized shops in Tokyo.
We want to see how ramen was made back in the old days, when only the basics were available.
Yep, ramen used to be the poor man's food in the beginning when it came out of necessity to a certain degree. One of the places we're going to still have the exact same recipe as when they opened almost 100 years ago. We make ramen every single day, so I'm hoping we can learn something that might actually change how we make ramen today.
So we're here outside of the Yokohama Ramen Museum. Now I know talking about Tokyo-based ramen shops, so we're cheating a little bit here.
We'll show you guys the inside of the ramen museum because it's great because it shows the whole history of ramen. So let's give you guys a quick debrief about the history of ramen.
The name ramen comes from the northern Chinese hand-pulled noodle dish referred to as ramen. The dish of ramen is much more similar to those from southern China, especially that of Cantonese cuisine. Common belief is that ramen has its roots in Chinese noodle dishes that were being served in Yokohama, Chinatown, which was predominantly Cantonese immigrants in the early 1900s. These dishes were primarily being served to other Chinese immigrants who wanted a taste of home. This is until a gentleman named Kanichi Ozaki founded what is widely believed to be Japan's first specialized ramen shop called Rairaiken. Ozaki recruited 12 Cantonese chefs from Yokohama to open a specialized ramen shop in Asakusa.
1910, it's the birth of ramen. It's not necessarily the birth of ramen. Ramen is the Japanese adaptation, but this was the first time that it was created for the Japanese. A Rairaiken original wallet.
Post-World War II, there was a severe shortage of rice and thus an intense food shortage nationwide. To help with this, America flooded Japan with wheat flour, which led to many yatai or food stall vendors selling ramen noodles because, of course, ramen noodles are made with wheat flour. This, in combination with numerous Japanese soldiers returning from China with new knowledge of Chinese cuisine, led to an explosion of ramen worldwide.
Because I came to Japan every single year, what my childhood memories is seeing these on the streets of Tokyo. These were everywhere. I remember walking down the streets and you would see these like 2 or 3 of them on the walk home, for example. There would be more seating, there would be more tables that pull out and you get a good like 10 people around it. But now it's illegal. You can't get yatais unless there's running water, which is why Fukuoka is the only place where you can have yatais. So there will never ever be another yatai in Tokyo with a new license ever again.
Bonus fun fact here, many of the returning soldiers would also serve their ramen with a side dish of jiaozi, which was a cornerstone dish of northern China. This dish ended up being referred to as gyoza by the Japanese people and also became a staple side dish to eat with ramen. Up until post-war Japan, the early iterations of ramen that were floating around were mostly referred to as Nanking soba. It wasn't until 1947 that the term ramen was first used. This use of the word ramen was likely from soldiers generalizing all Cantonese noodles as ramen. With that, the rest is history, and ramen is now one of the most famous noodle dishes worldwide, with countless variations, toppings, and styles.
Look how cool this is. I don't know whether it's because I love ramen, that's why I'm so full of energy right now. The map of Japan, and I think there's 52 official regional ramen. They're all so similar though, you know. I mean, that is that. Do you know what I mean?
Over here, they talk about ogikubo.
Oh, so they're famous for ramen. I didn't even know this. I knew it was quite well known for ramen. I didn't know it was like a ramen town. The ramen town throughout Japan. Wow. What is the next ramen shop? We are in Ogikubo. It's quite well known for like popularizing Tokyo style ramen. It's still a shoyu, so soy sauce based, but they were more popularized in the sense of making it slightly more of a fish stock alongside the shoyu. And that's the Tokyo style, so that's where it got more popular. Today, we're going to a ramen shop that's been around for 70 plus years. What's the name of the shop?
Harukiya. Harukiya is very famous for really preserving their flavor that they've maintained for over 70 years. Started off originally as a yatai, and as it gained popularity, it became a storefront, which has been located here in Ogikubo ever since it originally started.
Based on the photos in the actual restaurant, it has the opening as 1950, so it literally was a food store for just 1 year, and then it opened up as a restaurant, serving the same shoyu, Tokyo style ramen ever since then.
Now they say that they've kept their flavor the same ever since they started making their bowl, but this doesn't mean their recipe has always been the same. Their goal goal has been to make sure the customer's experience of the bowl remains the same, regardless of the season or the time. So they've changed their recipe slowly, so even if people's taste buds change, their bowl is experienced the same way. So they really pride themselves on that. They're also known for hand making their noodles, checking the humidity and the temperature every morning to make sure their noodles are perfectly the same every time.
Okay guys, that was Harukiya. One thing we were talking about earlier that we did notice is very, very similar to our own chintan that we serve in our school. Ours is a little bit clearer, I think. There was a bit more cloudy. But I did notice that they already had the chintan there. They've already taken out all the aromatics, everything like that, the bones. There was the finished broth that sat there. So that's probably why, if you take the stuff out, it does get murky. But I thought it was really good.
The biggest difference I thought was just the added oil. It stayed really hot for way longer, but it tasted really good. Their wontons were really good, a little low on the meat, but it was like,
they're really long.
Delicious. And the noodles were, I feel like, really the standout. Tasted fantastic, and I like that they were curly.
The wavier they are, you normally only see them with clear soups because they pick up a lot more of the soup when you're slurping. So it makes sense with a store like that, to be fair. I'm making them every single day, and you can feel it. I can feel the bounce to it, you know, the chewiness to it. So it's really good. We're gonna go to every restaurant and judge the ramen, the broth, the toppings, atmosphere, the ambience per se. So for the soup, I'm gonna say 7.5.
I really like it. I think it's simple and just like, that's what makes it so nice. I prefer our chintan, probably one of my favorites that we make. So I'm erring on the side 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Oh, you absolute liquor.
I really like it.
Noodles, I'm gonna give that like a 8.5.
I'll go 9.
Yeah, so char siu I was disappointed with. I'm gonna give it like a pretty low. I'm giving it a 3.5. Toppings, I should say. Toppings as a collective. I didn't try the wontons. What do you think of the wontons and the char siu collective?
Like I mentioned, I think the wontons could have used a little bit more meat, but the flavor itself was fantastic, and the wrapper itself, it wasn't like soft or soggy, it was very good. I really enjoyed the menma actually, and I don't really like menma normally, so for me that kind of brings it up a bit, but yeah, the char siu was really disappointing. It wasn't a very fatty cut either, it was just average, so I would go maybe 5, because the char siu brings it down, and the wontons and the menma bring it up a little bit.
It's roughly about 1,200 all together, so I feel like they could have, put more love in that, especially if they've been going for 70 years. I think that's one recipe they should have changed. What do you think about ambience? Because ramen restaurants are different from your normal restaurants, right? Ramen restaurants, you're in and out, you know? You want to judge the kind of atmosphere, because that place, it was run by foreigners primarily, so it did have a bit more of a kind of relaxed vibe, I would say. Yeah. They're well organized, so yeah, I thought ambience-wise it was pretty good. I would say an 8.
Yeah, I'd match that. I agree with 8, just because it felt friendly and welcoming. I didn't feel too rushed. You gotta watch when you come though, I think would be a thing if you want to include wait time into consideration for like ambience, because it was, as you saw, it was extremely lined up by the end. Make sure you're coming earlier or be prepared to wait in the line, because the turnover is a bit longer, I would say.
So, the average scores between us sits at toppings. It was a 4.2. For the ambience, we have an 8. Broth was an 8, and the noodles was 8.75. So that brings us to a total of 29 for Harukiya.
So we'll wrap it up here. We'll go to the next place. And next one is... This is Manpuku.
I just think it's a really cool snapshot into history. I feel like it's really preserved that old school like ramen shop feel. Due to the big fires that happened throughout Ginza, they replaced it with these brick buildings. So it's been able to stand the test of time better than many buildings would have, most likely. So it really has been preserved. And the same vibe on the inside, it feels like the customers coming in feel like locals who've been coming here for a very long time. Feels very like homely, I would say.
There was no like hello, like greeting. There was only us two and then the old man. Another lady came in and there was loads of these empty seats and she sat right next to the other man.
I will say everyone who came in seems like just super regular, you know what I mean? Like the way they came in, like it seems like they've been here a lot before.
What do you think of the actual ramen?
I think the broth was kind of a curveball. I wasn't expecting it to be like that, but I was pleasantly surprised.
It was kind of acidic.
You thought so, hey?
There was a punch to my tongue that I was like, oh, that was really unexpected. Because it was a lot darker in color. So I was expecting like really strong shoyu taste, like Tokyo style. But it was a lot more of a dashi, you know, like fish stocky, kind of niboshi kind of kick to it. And it wasn't overpowering showy. The look and the taste didn't match for me.
That's fair, I can see what you're saying. I think depending on what you're looking for, it could be a win. Like like I say, it feels homely. Like it feels like something my mom would make almost. You know what I mean? Andy doesn't agree?
No. My mum didn't love me. She didn't marry me. I was the one cooking. I cooked for her. So yeah, let's give some ratings. So soup, what are you giving it?
Like it's nostalgic tasting. Like it wasn't blow your socks off, but it wasn't shit. Like I would say 7, I would say.
7?
Yeah, so it wasn't anything crazy special. I wouldn't go higher than that. I would say 7.
I'm gonna give it a 6 because I'm only going by flavor. We had a peek over into their broth. I could see a few things. I saw like chives, carrots in there, and it's just something you don't really see in ramen broth. Yeah, I guess that homely vibe kind of makes sense now.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nutritious kind of ramen broth. I'll go for 6 just because I like the place. And the noodles?
I thought the noodles was a bit of a low point, 3.5, 4. It's just, I felt like it left a lot to be desired. They were a bit softer, a bit too soft for my liking, I would say.
I think with ramen, especially when you got these lower, like punchy ones with the clear broth, you need really thin ones that have that slight bite. And I prefer the straighter one because I do feel like the soup comes in more when it's straighter noodles in that respect. I'll give it a 4. For the noodle side of things, yeah. And then toppings?
Toppings, I'm a little disappointed by, just generally speaking, the chashu. Like, it doesn't have much flavor either, because it's, I guess, just boiled in the broth.
It wasn't rolled again. It was just the shoulder. You know it's the shoulder because of the fat layer that they have on the top.
I reckon it's one of those things that I do like where it evolved to. But other toppings, like the menma was really good. Like, I'm a menma hater. I really do not like menma, generally speaking. And I think most of the time it's because it's from the jar, and it just has that brininess. It tastes like chemicals to me. And this place didn't have that, and I really like menma when it's done like that. So that was really good. I actually really like the wontons. It was very low filling, but to me somehow it worked. I found like the texture of the skin was really nice, and I liked the bite of the skin itself. Somehow the little amount of filling they had was strong enough to taste good. Like, you could taste the filling. There's something to it. But I think, yeah, like overall for toppings, I would go above that. Like, I'd say 6.5.
Collectively, I'm gonna give it a 4 because I couldn't bite my chashu in half because of the fat. Even though it was overcooked, it wasn't cooked for a long enough time, so the temperature was too high, so that's why it was dry. So the lack of flavor, wasn't cooked well, and then that's the part that you've got to concentrate most out of all the other things, because all the other things usually are store bought. Menma was great, that's why I'm going a little bit higher. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 overall.
And then for ambiance, I think this one knocked it out of the park. This is my favorite thus far. I just think it's so cool how well it's preserved and all the little artifacts they have and such. They had a thing going with Uniqlo. I guess they have a collab with Uniqlo right now here in Ginza. And they have like a plaque, I guess, that would normally be above the door. They're renting it out to Uniqlo, so they have it out there. I really liked it. I would go 10, honestly. I don't know how it could get better.
10?
Yeah,
How it could get better than that?
Didn't feel unwelcoming.
We've just started our YouTube series, yeah? We're gonna go to hundreds of like ramen places in the future. Now you've given it a 10 out. Jesus.
I don't know, it's so unique. I don't think there's gonna be anywhere else like this, honestly. I don't know. We'll have to see.
It is very, very unique, yes. But then again, if we went to the countrysides, all of them will carry that nostalgia. It's only because this is a part of ramen history. Yeah, I loved all of it. Yeah, there's nothing I wouldn't say that I didn't like, you know. There's nothing negative, but I'll give it a 7. Do you regret your 10?
A little bit. A little bit. I go into a restaurant, I'm more emotional. He's analytical, you know? For me, I can't separate food from my history with food, you know? So it's more emotional for me, I feel like.
Average scores between us were a 5.25 for toppings, a 6.5 for the broth, 4 for the noodles, and ambient scoring, my favourite scoring, was a solid 8.5. That puts Manpuku at a total of 24.25.
So that was Manpuku. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And next one is...
So, why did we go to the Ramen Museum in Yokohama, do you ask? All because of Eric. The original game plan was to come to the Ramen Museum so we could find a replica of the original Rairaiken, since it was such a pinnacle part of ramen history. We knew it was going to be there. Although, very unluckily...
I'm not going to lie, I do not see it.
It's not here.
It's not here.
Why is it not here?
This used to be Rairaiken right here.
Used to be.
Yeah.
It got closed down literally a few weeks just before we got there. It was so recent that hasn't even been announced online yet, to give you an idea.
That's such a bummer.
But now day 3, we have found Rairaiken. We could finish this video at last.
As we mentioned earlier in the video, of course, Rairaiken was considered the first real ramen-specific shop ever to open in Japan. It was closed down, I believe, in the 70s. Fujin Lei was one of the original 12 Cantonese chefs who helped Kanichi Ozaki open up the original Rairaiken in Asakusa. In 1933, he left the original Rairaiken to open his own shop, but has been in this location ever since, almost coming up on 100 years of history here at this ramen shop. He took the recipes from the original Rairaiken and started here, serving essentially the same ramen. And it's, for the most part, been unchanged ever since. So this will be the closest representation to that original Rairaiken bowl of ramen, which is really cool.
Alright, see you guys in a bit. 昔のRairaikenの一番最初のラーメンってどういうラーメン？普通の一番？ Okay, good to know, good to know.
I just had the classic ramen, which the waitress said was the most similar to what would have been originally sold in Asakusa.
I had dandan men, yeah? It's like a spicy version of usually tonkotsu, but I realized later it was actually a clearer broth, so it wasn't even the tonkotsu. Dandan is Chinese, tantan is Japanese. What, mate? It's not a model walk.
What? Was that model walk?
That was a model walk, wasn't it? I can see him like this. Right, we have just had our ramen at Rairaiken. I think my initial thoughts was it's very Chinese. Because this was meant to be the first shop that specialised in serving just ramen. I think that has completely changed. It's now serving as just a Chinese restaurant that has ramen on the menu, rather than being specialised.
Which makes sense, because we were talking to the staff there, and she was saying he was like a wok master or something like that. Makes more sense that maybe once he opened his own shop, he added a lot more classical Chinese dishes to the menu, making it more of a Chinese shop. He asked the staff about whether there was someone who was working who knew a lot about the history of Rairaiken, and unfortunately they told us that the person who knows the most had just left. But even the staff member we were talking to, who seemed quite young, I can't imagine she's been working here too long, was actually pretty knowledgeable. I was really happy about the fact that they actually knew about the history. It's kind of disappointing that a lot of these places, they just kind of, it seems to be lost.
Ramen time. Yeah. Yes. So broth-wise, my broth, I was shocked that it wasn't a tonkotsu, first and foremost. I've never made dandan, had dandan. I've only had tantan, the Japanese adaptation. It was a very clear soup, or finished soup, I should say. Kind of. I saw like miniature cardamoms in there, like green ones as well. So there's a mix of things in there. So mine was very, very Chinese orientated. So broth-wise, it was still really good.
My broth was really good. I was saying with Manpuku as well, it did have very like a homely taste to it. Like it felt, you know, not a lot of glitz and glam, but it was good. It tastes like it'd be reliable. Like it would be the same and it would taste good every time. Basic in the best way. But I mean, we're talking about the first bowl of ramen ever here, right? It would be basic, you know? I did quite enjoy it. I'll go like a 7.5, just because again, it was just good.
No, I would have preferred a thicker soup. It came out really quick. Mine should have been hotter in terms of temperature. It wasn't piping hot. I'm gonna give it a 6.2. Noodles wise, yeah, noodles, we actually found out from the waitress. They used to have a soba restaurant they used to always get noodles from. Last year, they changed.
They wanted to make it more in line for their demographic, which was a younger audience in essence. As such, I guess they would go for a more elastic, springy noodle, because that's what the younger people are liking, I guess. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I thought the taste of the noodles was quite good as well. Like they didn't taste like bland or anything. It actually had flavor. So yeah, I quite liked the noodles. I think with the noodles being good texture, good flavor, I'm gonna go 7.5 again for the noodles. 7.5 again for the noodles. I'll go with that.
I thought the noodles were great. A lot better than the quality of broth, if I was going to compare the two. So I'm gonna say like, I'm gonna give it an even 7. They were great noodles, I really like them. I'd happily try to remake those noodles and serve it in our place. After that, toppings. I had a spicy mint. Tantamen, you have to have like a spicy mint. That's in the middle, right? Your first noodle pool looks great. All the mince is actually stuck to it. It's the only time that you have a great bite with mince on it. So topping wise, straight away the spicy mince wins. What do you think of the chashu?
Yeah, the chashu was quite good. You could tell by the color and the texture and such that it wasn't just boiled in the broth. Yeah, it wasn't very dry. It was quite moist. So I was quite pleased with the chashu actually. And it didn't have a very strong flavor.
And obviously all the spices and stuff that I have on my tantan men really matches with my chashu and sticks to the chashu. But mine sticks to it, so I really liked my chashu. Memma, the bamboo shoots. This time, I don't think there was much love in the memma.
I think it was just canned.
Yeah,
to be fair.
Memma is kept in like a salt brine. It's very salty if you eat it straight out of the bag. You have to wash it out like 3 times and leave it overnight. So I think they've done the cleaning process, but no cooking process.
I had the wontons. I was a little erring on the side of disappointment for the wontons. It was a lot of skin and the filling wasn't good enough to compensate for the lack of it.
So yeah, from a toppings perspective, as a collective, a 5.7. It's acceptable.
For me, I would have to give it a below average score. I would probably go to just a 4.5. Same thing as you. Biggest thing bringing it up was that chashu, but the other parts were a little bit more on the disappointing side for me.
Now, our favorite ambience, energy that you feel when you go in there. Very friendly. Obviously, it's a sit-down restaurant, so it's not the normal ramen vibe. So I like the ambience. It's old school.
I think also a good thing to mention was, so this place used to be 2 floors, and they used to have a dining area for big set courses upstairs, but during COVID, they unfortunately closed down the upstairs, so now it's a karate dojo. So the entire time we're eating, you could just hear the thumping of the karate upstairs. To some people, maybe a con, but to us, we were kind of like, it's kind of cool.
Just easygoing atmosphere.
Although it does have that very old school vibe, to me, it clearly has been renovated recently. I would have liked to see a little bit more of like that preservation of the old that it used to be. But that would be the only thing for me. I think for me overall, I would give it about 8. Just because I think the coolness of like the artifacts and the old school stuff is really high value for me. And that way it's lost some points. But yeah, it's still great.
I was thinking around the kind of 8 mark. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8.5.
And finally, Rairaiken. The noodles scored 7.25. Toppings came in at 5.1, the broth landed at 6.85, and the ambience scored another strong 8.5, so the same as Manpuku, giving Rairaiken an overall score of 27.25 for Rairaiken.
But there you go. I mean, at the end of the day, we both had a good time. It's been really fun making this video, learning about the ramen lore.
And I loved how just all the different shops, like things kept like making sense. The lineage of ramen is just really cool to kind of see unfolding in front of you.
I had fun making this video. Yes, it did take 3 days. Yes, we've had some failures, but we've done it. We've seen a piece of history in the ramen way. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. What is the next ramen shop?
Bubble ramen?